Hey everybody, Mazer here, and welcome back to Pixel Game Maker MV tutorial on how to make a very basic top-down shooter. Today, one of the things we're going to go over is how to keep the player in bounds and how to start shooting. All right, super easy. The first thing we got to do is make sure the player stays within the barrier of the game. All right, for example, the way we left things off last time is the player can actually go off the bottom of the screen and can leave the top of the screen. All right, and we do not want that to happen whatsoever. All right, so it's a very easy fix. I wouldn't say it's the best fix, but it is a fix nevertheless. What we want to do is create something called a bar. Okay, so we're going to go back to animations and we're going to add a new animation. We're going to call this the barrier. All right, so we're going to basically make a player bar that is going to prevent the player from going off screen. So we're going to go to images like last time. We go to new, and I already put this image in my folder. And what this is just a basic quick bar that I threw a gradient on. I just made it in Microsoft Paint real fast, and I made it as long as the level would be wide. Okay, super easy. Has no directional, nothing. We just throw this in here so that the player can interact with it. All right, we go to objects. We right click, add object. We're going to call it a barrier. We're going to select that barrier animation, and we're going to have it interact with the player group. Okay. Now, some things we do want to change down here is allow attack detection. We don't want any attacks to register with this object. So we're going to delete that right there. Allow wall detection impact. Now this is the more important one. This is what's going to make everything work. We're going to swap out the enemy group with the player group. So only the player group is going to interact with this object. Okay? And done. All right, so it's now officially in the game. We don't need to set a motion. We do not need to set any other actions. Now let's place it in the scene. All right. Go down to level 1. Let's scroll all the way down here to our first frame. For the level, we go barrier. All right. I'm going to set the barrier right here. And we're going to set a barrier right here. All right. I'm going to stretch it out to the length of the level. I guess it wasn't as big as I thought it would be after I did MS Paint. And we're going to shrink this little guy down pretty far so it's close to the edge of the screen as possible. Now, just like the player ship, we want this barrier to move with the camera. So back to basic settings under objects, fix relative position to camera, and click on that. Okay, so now the barriers will move with the camera, and we place the barriers on the same layer as the player so the player can interact with it. All right, so we'll save it. And let's test this out. You can see the barriers on the top of the bottom of the screens. Oh no, the player just goes right through them. That's not good at all. So as we saw that we are still going through the barrier and we discovered why, it's very simple. You go back to player 1 in the objects menu. You hit object settings, allow wall detection impacts from object groups. We're going to add a player group. All right, that was very easy to do. You just hit the plus object and you hit player group. All right, and we want to make sure it still hits the enemies. So there you go. So basically what this does is if a wall detection between the two player groups is discovered, it's going to stop the motion. All right, so we're going to save. And now we play. And now the barriers stop our player. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. Now, when you actually play the game, we're going to go to the barrier object here. You would like to basically have the barrier invisible, right? So you're going to go to the motion of the barrier, and we are going to basically make it invisible. So you just take the opacity and make it 0. All right, so when you push play, the barriers are gone, but the effect still lasts. Perfect. So the way to keep the players in the field has now been explained, and we'll go to the next part of this tutorial, which is how to shoot. All right, now that we have barriers in place, let us take a look at how we can have our ship actually shoot. So the first thing we want to do is build a laser object. So once again, you go to animations, you're going to add an animation, we're going to call it laser, and we're going to select one from our folder. I got a laser right here, perfect. We're going to center it like we did last time, and we are good to go. So we have to now tell the program that this is actually a bullet object. So go to player 1 and go to objects. If you click on this little gear icon, it'll bring up this folder right here, this little space, this window, and you want to choose bullet shot settings. It's going to open up a new area in your window called bullet settings. You click on that. So this is going to be the list of all the bullets this ship is going to be able to shoot. So we're going to name our first one red laser. All right. We're going to set it to being the laser object itself. Oh, I'm sorry, we got ahead of ourselves. We forgot to actually make it an object. So we go back to objects, add object, laser. It's going to be part of enemy, player group, and it's going to be against enemy group. So that's all set up. There. We have a laser. Yay. Now we can go back to player 1, bullet settings, and set up the bullet object as laser. All right. Number of bullets per shot is 1. Interval between bullets, let's leave that at 1. Number of bullets allowed in a scene. We might come back to this in 1 second, but for now, let's click no limit. All right. Now, we want the bullets to always shoot up. So we're going to click on shoot in a specified direction. And we want the bullets to always go up. All right. So they will always move in one direction no matter where we are on the screen. Done. Now we got to set up player 1 to actually shoot the bullets. So we go to our action program and we're going to make a new action. It's going to be using the flying sprite, and we're going to have the action play, let's see, during the waiting command. So let's add a link from waiting to action. All right. Now, we're going to say change if any condition is met, and the following has been inputted. We're going to choose button A. When it is pressed, and we're going to go to our action, we're going to say shoot once. All right. Shoot once, and we're going to go to other runtime actions, and we're going to say fire bullet. We're going to fire the red laser, and we're going to choose the first connection point on our ship. Now what is a connection point? Well, let's find out. Go to animations, and a connection point is basically a spot on your sprite that is going to launch the object. So from this animation, we're going to add one connection point. We can even rename this if we want. So we could just say cockpit. There we go. Set as a keyframe, and we're going to specify the size and position right here at the tip of the nose. All right. Now with the connection point set, we go back to our objects, and again, once A is pressed, you shoot once from the connection point. All right, now let's hit, let's save and give it a shot. Yep, we shoot a single laser once we're in the waiting animation. You'll notice that the laser moves very slowly, and we cannot shoot again no matter what. So we can only shoot once. That's kind of a bummer. So let's go down bit by bit, stage by stage, and make sure we understand how to fix every problem that we just saw. So, first of all, let's talk about the bullet speed. We're going to go back to the bullet settings, scroll all the way down, and say change move speed. We're going to set that to 900%. All right, save, and push play. And there you go. Now the bullet flies right off the camera. Look at that. Whee! Super fast. Now you'll notice, however, I cannot shoot more than once. I have to reset the game every time I want to shoot again. Why is that? Well, that is because in our actions here, we have it just happening once. When the A button is pressed, it shoots once, and that's it. That's the end of the line. So if you guys want to have it so where you hold down the shooting button and it keeps firing, here's what you're going to do. You're going to copy the shoot. Let's see, copy and paste. We're going to make a shooting loop. All right. We're going to add a link to this one and then a link back to this one. Now, we're going to change the conditions to all conditions are met. So we want it to go back to on A, and then we're going to add a timer. Actually, we're not going to add a timer, and I want to show you why. What happens if you don't add a timer? Fire a bullet, and then right here, again on A. There we go. Now we should shoot multiple times, because now we have a loop. Oh! We shoot multiple times, all right. In fact, we shoot a massive laser beam if we hold it down, and a stream of lasers if we just tap. This is where that timer comes in. So let's exit out of here, go back to our arrow, and make another additional condition setting. We're going to do after a certain time passes, 0.25 seconds. That's usually a good round for holding a button down. It's a good time. It's a nice time. Now, if we hit play, it's going to keep shooting no matter what. You can shoot several times, or you can hold the button down and it'll shoot repeatedly. Perfect. Now you'll notice I cannot shoot when I'm in this other animation. If I go back to the waiting animation by pushing up or down, I can shoot, but not in the banking animation. All right. In fact, you'll see that I jerk my ship around if I hold down the shoot button. Why is that? Well, it's because we only have this going from the waiting animation. Well, there's many different ways to change this, but let's show you what happens if we do this strictly by the banking animation. So we're going to take our little thing and we're going to switch it from waiting to banking. We're going to have a little problem here. It's not shooting. See? So I bet you're wondering how we fix this janky animation every time we shoot. Well, I'm sure there's other solutions, but the one that I came up with is basically creating a clone shadow object that is going to take care of all the shooting for us. So we're going to basically turn the ship into two objects. One that deals with the animation and one that deals with just the shooting. And that is what we're going to cover in our next tutorial. All right. Thank you very much for joining me today. I am Mazer, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.